So in talking about bracing, wearing a weight belt, bracing to squat, to deadlift, to do something where you need a little bit of spinal stability or a lot of spinal stability, depending on what it is, what I found is a lot of times people think that bracing is crunching. It's they're trying to take their rib cage down closer to their pelvis, and ultimately what that does, that is not bracing. Ultimately what that does is you are tightening this area here, but it's putting your spine in a suboptimal, a potentially problematic position, especially if you're attached to a barbell, a heavy barbell. So sometimes an alternative that I see people do is if they don't crunch, they tend to pooch their stomach out. So they end up pressing, trying to give themselves a pot belly because it does make this tissue tight. But that is also incorrect, because if you watch my low back, as I push my stomach out, it pulls my low back into a lot of extension. So you're just going in the opposite direction. You're loading that spine up in an opposite but equally problematic position if you're loaded, attached to a bar, anything like that. So oftentimes when people are wearing a belt, they tend to do the pot belly trick. So they'll have a belt on and they're trying to push their stomach out into the belt, which makes the belt get tight. It makes it feel tight around the core, the spine, all of that. And in some cases, if it's light enough, if the person is reasonably athletic enough, it creates stability, but it's not the best stability. So in wearing a belt, what you're trying to do is increase intraabdominal pressure. So you're trying to increase the pressure within the abdomen to increase spinal stiffness. So if you wear a belt and you're guilty of using the pot belly trick, you only feel pressure here. A trick you can use, if you take a band, preferably a fatter monster band than the little skinny orange and red ones, you step into it like a limp hula hoop, and you bring it up about where the top of the belt would be, so just beneath the last ribs. Bring it up, you crisscross it, and you pull it down tight. Now you're not trying to create a tourniquet. You're not trying to cut off circulation to the legs or anything like that. All you're trying to do is create a little bit of tension, and then as you brace, the bracing cue should be to get tight through the middle. Like at any point while you're trying this, somebody's gonna appear and slap you on the stomach or punch you in the stomach. You're trying to firm up this area, and what it should feel like with the band is that as you get tight, as I get tight there, you feel circumferential tension. So you feel your entire core from the back, the spine, all of that pushing out into the band. So it'll feel like everything is pushing outwards. You're expanding through the band, or in this case, a belt. If you're trying it with a belt, you're trying to get tension through the whole system, not just through the front, not just through the sides, or not just through the back. So if you've never felt that pressure before, what you need to be careful of is if you've only ever braced into a belt using the pot belly technique and you're strong, you're only going to be strong using that technique. So as you reinvent this core bracing strategy, you're going to have to reduce the weight on the bar a little bit until your body is A, used to it, but then B, used to it with load. And what you may find, what you'll probably find, is that as you increase core stability, like if you feel like you've plateaued at a specific weight, if you suddenly improve your core strategy, your bracing strategy prior to lifting, you will have to revert and reduce that weight a little bit, retrain that core strategy, that bracing strategy, and then what you'll probably see is a pretty decent spike in the weight that you're moving, whether it's deadlifting or squatting, anything like that. So try the band trick. If you have questions, shoot me a DM, email